Let's open up an evolutionary biologist's field journal for a second. If you look around today, you'll see a species, our species, struggling to survive in a rapidly mutating environment. We see social division, economic stagnation, and this chronic anxiety everywhere, right? A lot of people try to brush these off as temporary system glitches or just standard political issues. But the biological data and our historical trajectory point to a much deeper and honestly a much more terrifying truth. Welcome to this explainer, where we're going to unpack exactly why humanity is facing a massive adaptation crisis. This fundamental biological truth from Charles Darwin perfectly frames the situation we're in today. The friction and anxiety swirling around modern society aren't just trending news topics, they are literally the screams of Homo sapiens desperately struggling to adapt to radical climate change within our own societal ecosystem. What we are experiencing right now is a massive structural adaptation crisis. Section 1. Modern Humanity's Adaptation Crisis. Let's dive right into the structural flaws holding us back. At the dawn of the 21st century, our species experienced two massive structural mutations. First, the externalization of knowledge through digital technology. Our smartphones and the cloud are basically acting as our external brains, completely rewiring our survival mechanisms. Second, we have a global demographic distortion, declining birth rates and aging populations. Now, these aren't just minor historical blips. These are ecosystem-level tectonic shifts that are completely shaking up how our pack distributes energy and organizes power. Think about this biologically. For any pack of animals to survive, it absolutely must invest resources into the next generation. But our aging demographic creates what we call a silver democracy. In this political ecosystem, the sheer voting weight of older generations forces society to prioritize immediate consumption, like pensions and healthcare, over vital evolutionary investments like education, research, and climate action. Structurally, it's the equivalent of a species eating tomorrow's seed corn just to survive today. Section 2. Knowledge externalization and power. Let's look at the paradigm shift in our cognitive environment. The story of where we store our knowledge is wild. In the pre-modern era, elders gathered around a fire were literally the tribe's hard drives. The experience hoarded in their brains was absolute power and the key to survival. Then, during the industrial age, knowledge became standardized, mass-produced like factory parts. And today, knowledge has completely left our physical bodies and relocated to the digital cloud. The elder's brain is completely obsolete as the ultimate storage for survival data. Because of this shift, we're facing a fascinating biological paradox, the debt of experience. Imagine a highly skilled apex predator that has evolved perfect instincts for hunting in a deep forest. Now, what happens if climate change turns that forest into a desert overnight? Those perfect instincts and past successes become the exact things that will starve it to death. In our rapidly mutating digital environment, being locked into past success isn't an asset anymore. It's a fatal debt that blocks new adaptations. Section 3. The limits of the factory education system. So our environment has mutated drastically, yet our primary survival training manual hasn't been updated in 200 years. Modern education is literally stuck in a 19th century factory model. It was designed to mass-produce homogeneous workers, obsessing over standardization and the absolute supremacy of the right answer. But here's the biologically dangerous part. It has zero tolerance for failure. In nature, mutation and error, which is failure, are the literal engines of evolution. A system that punishes failure actively destroys a species' potential to evolve. Have you ever felt like you're just reading from an obsolete script just to fit in? Organisms raised in this factory model suffer from what we call over-adaptation to conformity. We mistake following the crowd for actual societal adaptation. In this setup, the invisible predator of peer pressure ruthlessly hunts down anyone trying a new survival strategy. Creative trial and error gets suffocated, and we voluntarily eliminate the exact trait Darwin said was essential for survival. It's like we're all marching off a cliff together, just because we're terrified of stepping out of line. Section 4. A growth mindset unafraid of failure. To break through these limits, we have to swap out our cognitive operating system entirely. A fixed mindset is like an armadillo rolling into a ball at the first sign of a predator. It sees change as a threat, desperately defends the status quo, and is absolutely terrified of making a mistake. A growth mindset, on the other hand, is like a plant actively stretching its roots into new, unknown soil, or a virus constantly mutating. It sees uncertainty as an opportunity. For the growth mindset, failure doesn't even exist. It's simply vital environmental data collection needed for the species to move forward. Section 5. The challenge to new evolution and how we break away from outdated paradigms. So, how do we escape this factory paradigm and intentionally drive our own evolution?
Step 1 is waking up to the fact that you're running on 19th century software and recognizing your built-in biases against the unknown. Step 2 is massive unlearning. You have to totally ditch the irrational fear that making a mistake means you're a defective product. And step 3, get out there and actively experiment. In our modern digital jungle, you have to iterate at breakneck speed. The organism that experiments the fastest is the one that survives. Take a second to really think about your own defense mechanisms. Are you clinging to the debt of experience from past victories, still running that outdated 20th century OS? Or are you actively mutating your skill set to stay alive? Real adaptation isn't just passively letting the environment push you around. It is the highly creative, incredibly active transformation of yourself. You literally have to become the architect of your own cognitive evolution.
Our ecosystem has already mutated past the point of no return. Those old power structures and factory education models are collapsing under their own weight. So, what's it going to be? Will you stubbornly cling to a fading paradigm and wait for extinction? Or will you embrace failure, experiment wildly, and adapt to the next stage of human civilization? The power to choose your evolution is entirely in your hands.